Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more medieval engineers. And that does mean that, fortunately for me, the one big bug I was having from the past update has been fixed. Now, according to the patch notes or update log, that problem was possibly caused by a graphics card issue. At least that's what they said that they fixed. Although they did say it was a temporary fix, so maybe that will relapse and occur again, but hopefully not. But essentially, the bug I was having is my second monitor was being forced as the only monitor it would recognize, and because my second monitor is an older monitor, it doesn't accept certain modern screen resolutions, and I had to play it in a window on my main screen so I could keep an eye on my recording software and all that other stuff. The visuals were really awful, and I kind of decided that until that was fixed, I'd put medieval engineers aside. And considering that I didn't know how long that would take to fix, I wasn't sure whether or not I would be coming back to it for a little while. As a result of that, I actually got back into Space Engineers, so that's kind of a good thing. And at the same day you can expect to see this post, you should also expect to see a Space Engineers video go up. And what I'm going to be doing with Space Engineers is getting right back into my large ship build project, which is something that I kind of have put on hold for quite a while now, and I'll be getting back into that. So that's something you can look forward to if you're interested in looking at that. Okay, so let's get into the update. Aside from that graphics card temporary fix that we talked about, what all has changed? Well, the main thing that's changed is we now have a survival mode implemented in the game. Now, it is very early in its implementation, and it isn't all that fleshed out. We can kind of see that a little bit if we open up our little block menu here, and we see that it doesn't have nearly the assortment of blocks that we expect in creation mode. That's because not all of them have been implemented yet into survival mode, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's essentially a building model. You have essentially a framework, then like it's half completed, and then it's fully completed, and then it's done, right? And essentially just like what we had in Space Engineers. So the same thing's here, so they have to get that modeling done with the blocks, and also they have to set it up for what supplies you need to build it. So we see that reflected here with these new blocks. It says essentially what you need to build each block, and so on. Okay, another addition is in character tools. Now, the main tools you're going to look at are the hammer and the hammer deconstructor. So essentially, the hammer is going to be what you use to build. The hammer deconstructor is going to be what you use to unbuild, I guess, is the word we'll use. Now, I will admit that initially, for me, I struggled with this concept a little bit, as I feel like the building in the survival mode isn't quite as intuitive as for instance, Space Engineers is, or what have you. And I did struggle with the concept a little bit. And there is one key mistake I made that I'm going to kind of talk about here, and that's with using the hammers. So the hammer that's the builder is the one with the little what looks like brick symbols, and the one that's the deconstructor is the one that looks like arrows. So to show off the deconstructor here, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to pull that out, and you're going to go over to what you want to deconstruct, and you're going to want to hit right mouse button. That is the important distinction here. Right mouse button to use the tool function. Left mouse button just swings the hammer and bashes an item. The animation you get is exactly the same, but the distinction is if you use your left mouse button and you break that block, when the block is broken, you will get no resources out of it. Whereas if you use the deconstructor and you use the right mouse button, at least in theory, you should get the supplies back that it took to build that item. And we can see here with the right mouse button, we see it starting to deconstruct. Now, some items will take quite a while to deconstruct. I think mostly like stone walls in particular would take quite a while to deconstruct, but we can see, the items here, and it looks like we've gone down it from 98% down to 97. So we can see stone walls take quite a while to deconstruct. Now they did that, I think, so that it's not just a cheap way to break through a castle wall, just use your deconstructor. That does make it a little bit of the pain in the butt if you accidentally place a block in somewhere you don't want it, and then you have to deconstruct it. It can take quite a while, as we see there. But wooden walls deconstruct much quicker, so we can go ahead and demonstrate that here. So we see each whack is really bringing down the wall very quickly. I am noticing kind of a bug with this, though. It should have spit out timbers, and I don't see that it did that. Although it did spit out the scrap wood it should have, there should have been 2 timbers it spit out as well, which I'm not seeing. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, but that is kind of a bug I did notice when I was playing around here. But that's the only thing that I noticed that did that. I mean, I could play around with this wall here all day long, and hopefully eventually I'd get it down, but I don't think we want to have that long of a video. Another thing I noticed is blocks that are not yet in our inventory, and we don't see this block being in our block inventory. If you go to deconstruct them, all that happens when you go to deconstruct them is after a number of hits, we do see it says timber 10 there, but once we deconstruct it down to 0%, it just breaks. It doesn't give us any supplies or anything. And there was also no model there. So that is one thing you can look, kind of see. All right, now the main thing you want to see, though, is the building. Now, what I've noticed, for instance, with this stone block, if we go to place this, it says required 10 scrap wood. It also requires stone, but just to be able to place it, you need that scrap wood. And obviously, you need to place it within a distance of the scrap wood itself for it to legally place. Like, for instance, if we go over here more towards the timber and the stone, now this would be in distance of the timber and stone to build, but not the scrap wood, so it doesn't legally place. And you need all 10 of those scrap wood to be able to place this, which is kind of, in my opinion, that's one of the things I kind of struggled with intuitively, because in Space Engineers, like for instance, for you to place down a light armor block, you'd only need like 1 armor plate or steel plate. You wouldn't need 25 steel plates, which is the full amount that it would take to build one. You just need 1. This, you need all of the scrap wood to be able to build it. So that's one thing that you have to kind of keep in mind. And if you're going to try and maybe just do a framework of the stone blocks, for instance, you're going to want to make sure you place your scrap wood first, and stockpile that first so you can start your framework, and then you can bring the stone later if that's the way you want to construct things. So that's one thing you want to kind of focus on. So let's go ahead and place that down. Essentially, we see our initial framework. And we can keep placing, obviously, as long as we have scrap wood. And we see our scrap wood pile starting to diminish. And eventually, even though it's pretty clear here, we probably don't have enough stone to finish this off, because each of these takes 20 stone. We can keep placing these as long as we want to, as long as we have scrap wood to do it. But eventually, we're going to run out of our allotment of scrap wood. We don't have enough to get that 10 scrap wood. We can't place down any more blocks. So that's kind of the way that the system works. But anyway, to actually build this, we just go ahead and hit our 7 key, which is our hammer, which is how we build. And again, right mouse click, not left mouse click, or you will damage the block and lose your supplies. We're going to go ahead and start building this. So one whack of the right mouse button starts to put this thing together. And we're starting to put in our stone, and we see some of our stone starting to disappear there. I'm not exactly sure what the 20-20-20 means exactly, but I'm assuming that's, how much of your supplies. I don't know what that third number means, though, honestly. But in any case, we can start doing this, as I said, keep building. But eventually, we're going to get to a point where we just don't have enough stone to actually complete this, and we'll probably see that with our next build here, because we only have 1 stone. So we will thrack this once, and we see that we have 2 stone in there, but that's it. Maybe it did take 1 stone block. It's kind of, I'm not exactly sure of that system. I think I did try it out, though, where you could put a framework down with if you had enough scrap wood with no stone around. But in any case, the main thing that you want to focus on is making sure you have enough scrap wood to be able to put down your initial foundation, and then you can collect your stone as needed. The one thing I'm not really sure of is, yeah, it does allow me in creative mode to put down more of these scrap wood. Okay, so that's kind of a convenient item there. Except I don't know if it's... Looks like it's only spawning 1, though. It's kind of what I see happening here. Doesn't seem like it stays. So you don't have a cheap system of just spawning and spawning and spawning, I guess. I was hoping that was going to be a cheat. Oh, we got to get off J, of course. And it looks like we fell down here. Oopsie. There we go. And we just don't have enough scrap wood to, quite get on with that. So, that's essentially how the system works, more or less. And everything works this way. So if we wanted a wood wall, we have the timber and the scrap wood to obviously place this. So we'll go ahead and place that down here. And as long as we're within, I think, 3 spaces, or I think they said 7 meters. As long as we're within 3 spaces, we can place this. I think we're a little bit too far away from our scrap wood here to place this. But again, we see the scrap wood is the thing that's being required to place this down, not the uh, not the timber. All right, so now we have that, and I think that's all of our scrap wood used up. And again, we just hit 7. We go over here and right mouse button. All right, for some reason that's not working now. All right, so there's a little bit of glitchiness here. Maybe it's because we built one inside of the other. Maybe it doesn't really like that very much. All right, let's get our deconstructor, and maybe we'll get one of the walls taken down. Okay, so it gave us back our scrap wood. That's fine. All right, let's try and construct it now. Maybe that's the issue. Just seemingly not wanting to do it. We have the timber right there, and just not wanting to get in there. Oh, maybe these aren't long enough. I might have accidentally placed the wrong kind of timber. That's probably the problem. Okay, well, that's all right. I guess I accidentally used the wrong size timber because I'm seeing this says timber 8 and this says timber 10. It's probably wanting 10 length timber. I tried to put down 10 size timber. I think I just accidentally put down the wrong size. So be mindful of that if you're putting in supplies that you're using the full length timber. I must have just done my mouse wheel a little bit too much there. At least I think I did. Yeah, see, it's a little bit too short is the problem there. And it doesn't allow me to place this. You need the timber to build the timber. That's interesting. So yeah, I made a slight mistake there. But in any case, that is more or less the build. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and a look at the survival mode and what it has to offer. This is really, as I said, very early in its implementation. And I did notice that slight bug over there when I took that wall down, not getting the timber that I probably should have. But that might have been because this is walls that spawned in with the world, maybe. I'm not exactly sure what all the rationale is behind that. But in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.